When I first went full-time, I was told, all you got to do, Larry, is work half as hard here as you did in construction work, and you'll be wealthy quick. And I said, let me add it. Half as hard. I'll work twice as hard. Right? Didn't work that way at all. Because of habits. You understand? Habits. One of them's lying to yourself. Lying to yourself says, oh, it's coming. I got it going now. I got it coming now. Right? Well, where is it? Is the only thing you got to ask yourself. Where's the production today? Some people get so engrossed putting projects together, brochures together, big schemes, booklets, everything else together, and they didn't produce today. They didn't make one sale today. They didn't recruit one person today. They didn't really seriously talk to anybody about the products and the opportunity today. I'll tell you how to make $5,000 a month in this business. I'll tell you how to do it and take 90 days. If you'll do two things. Number one, you'll sell the product at every opportune moment. That doesn't mean that you go out here and go door to door. It doesn't mean you get party plans. It doesn't mean you hustle over office buildings. It doesn't mean that. Sell the product at every opportune moment. Wear your button, open your ears, open your eyes, pay attention. Sell the product at every opportune moment. Every opportune moment. And sponsor 10 people a month. Now, I've told this to some of you before, okay? And I'll tell you this, there's not a person that's heard this before that did it is making less than $5,000 a month, period, over and out. That's what I told my sister to do. And that's exactly what she's doing. That's something. That's all she's doing, is those two things. Sponsor 10 people a month. That doesn't mean 11 in March, 9 in April, 10 people every month. And sell the product at every opportune moment you can, and $5,000 a month is yours. It's waiting for you. But don't lie to yourself here, okay? Who'd you talk to today about the products? Who'd you talk to today about the opportunity? Don't tell me what's going to happen next week with all this big plans you have. Don't you do that. What'd you do today that made a significant difference in your financial future? What was it today? You don't need to be, you're the only one that's got to have the answer to that question, but tell you the truth on it. Anybody else tell what you want. Okay? I'm going to give you some problems here, but I'm going to give you a solution to it. Procrastination. I don't know how to spell it, so you're going to have to... I was going to look it up this morning, but I thought I'd do it on Monday. Just wanted to see if you were awake. Okay. Procrastination. How many have procrastinators? Okay. All of us are procrastinators. All of us are. There's not a person in the world who's not a procrastinator in some areas. Procrastination. Procrastination took me a while to understand, and I had to relate it. There was a couple of things that really got to me, okay? And I didn't think I was going to be able to make it. Even though I was making money and stuff, it wasn't secure money to me. See, it wasn't any of that stuff because I didn't think I was going to be able to get it put together, and procrastination was one part of it. And it took construction work to get me back to understand procrastination. I couldn't understand it. Some things I just keep putting off and off and off and off, and other things I do right now, and I just didn't have any handle on it. We're in the nutritional business, but I'm going to tell you right now, my favorite sandwich in the whole world, I love sandwiches. I love them. Just love them. And my favorite sandwich in the whole world is a fried bologna sandwich. Have you ever had a fried bologna sandwich? Oh, let me tell you, you've never had one in the world like I can make it. Sometimes I will prepare a fried bologna sandwich and you'll never believe it. You'll never be the same again in your life over this thing. When I did construction work, you know what I had every day? Fried bologna sandwich. And you got to eat it right. It's got to be prepared right. And it's got to be eaten right. It's so good. You have no idea. And I guess I'd been in sales about a year, and I was I was making money and everything, but I was having some rough times because it wasn't secure, as I said. I was nervous about it all the time, and it was a day that I planned to be off. Okay, and I wanted to do some work. It was matter of fact, it was in March. And I wanted to be off, and I wanted to do some work on my deck. I was building a deck out there, and I'd been piddling around with it, and I was going to take a day and really get on with it. And I was there by myself, and I never will forget it. And I didn't want to eat anything in the morning at all because I don't like to get all bogged down. And I had it figured out where I could do X amount of work and probably stop about 1, rest a little bit, and prepare a fried bologna sandwich and eat it leisurely at 2 o'clock. And it was going to be so good. And I kept working, right? Working on it. Finally, I got down. It was time to eat my fried bologna sandwich. Time to take off. I did. I prepared it. And all of a sudden, I'm eating this fried bologna sandwich. It had been a while since I'd had one. Okay? Because I hadn't been, eating, doing construction. It had been a while. And for some reason, this fried bologna sandwich didn't taste nearly as good to me as I felt like it should. And that was bothering me. I trained myself enough to pay attention to things that didn't feel quite right, to analyze them and figure it out and change it. And I couldn't figure it out. And then it got me. I understood it. You know what it was? How many of you like the crust on a sandwich? I don't like the crust. It's terrible. Right? I don't like eating the crust. But you also can't throw the crust away. There's starving kids in India, right? Your mother puts you through that deal, right? So you can't throw the crust away. And so what do? Right? And I looked at that sandwich, and that baby I started over here in this corner, and I'd start eating around, and it was in and up here that I was going to have this big piece of crust left at the end. It's dry. It's terrible tasting. Nothing good about that deal at all. And then it hit me. I figured it out. And I related that to procrastination. And I said, I know how to do it. Now make the whole sandwich taste good from start to finish. You know what you do? Eat the crust first. You get on with the crust. You get just enough to get into the bread, right? And you get just enough crust to get in there and get rid of that so you can get to the good stuff. And you don't mind eating the crust because you can get on with that deal and you got this whole thing left that's all good. And then you get down to the last bite, which is the heart, right? Which is all the good stuff that's in the heart. Everything is there. In the maximum, whatever you have on your sandwich, it's all in the middle of the good stuff, right? And that's the best bite. Right? So you save that for last. So the point is on procrastination, all of us procrastinate in some areas of our life, right? But we procrastinate when we're doing things we don't like to do. We hurry up and do the stuff that we like to do, and we prolong the stuff we don't like to do. And while we're doing the things we like to do, eating the bologna sandwich, we're thinking of the crust, and we're not enjoying this to the full capacity. Right? So if you eat the crust first, the crust is more palatable because you've got all of this to look forward to. So all that means is that the things that you don't like to do, you do first. And while you're doing them, they're more enjoyable because you're looking forward to the things that you do like to do. Okay? Does that make sense to you? All of us procrastinate. All of us do. But the thing on procrastination is do the things you don't like first and look forward to the others. Okay? Now here's another one. Failure to set good goals and plans. Now everybody that you've ever met that's successful has always said you've got to have goals and plans. Well, that's one thing that almost hung me up. Because I didn't think, I attended seminars, and they call it the art of setting goals. Can you believe that? The art. I've been to a 6-hour seminar, the art of setting goals. When I thought I couldn't master that, right? I couldn't master. I said, I don't know how to put, I have goals. They say, write it down, write on a 3x5 card, put it in your paper, in your pocket, read it in the morning as soon as you get up, read it at night before you go to bed. They teach you all that stuff, right? I'm not saying don't do that. I'm saying do that. But there's something else you need to know. You already know how to do it. I thought, I wrote it down, nothing happened. I read it, nothing happened. I don't know how to make plans. I don't know how to follow up. I didn't know how to do that. I was making money. I was moving ahead, but it wasn't with ease. You understand? It wasn't secure movement forward. And then I realized something. And that made a lot of difference to me. What I realized was I didn't know how to set goals. You know why? Because I had some goals in my life. I didn't write them down. All of us in this room know how to set goals. All of us right now know how to make plans to achieve those goals right now. You don't have to read any books. You don't have to go to any seminars. You don't have to do anything. You know right now how to do it. All the goal is something that you got to have. You got to have it. And if you got to have it, you become aware of it, then you'll figure out the plans. The plans will come to you. I'm going to tell you a story. When I tell you this story, I bet you there's a lot of people in this room that can tell me a story just about like that. There's only a couple things early on in my life that I knew I wanted. One of them was my own home. I knew at the age of 13 I wanted to have my own home. And I was very aware of owning my own home. And when I was 19, I was doing construction work on a tract of homes, and they had this one model over there that I really liked. And I just kept going back and looking at it, kept going back and walking through it. It wasn't that it was the best model, but it was the only one that I could identify with possibly being able to get, right? And so that made it the best for me. And I just kept going back and looking at it. And finally the developer said, why don't you buy it? You know, here I am 19. He said, why don't you buy it? I said, oh, no, I don't have any money or anything, and I don't have any credit and all this stuff. I went through that whole thing. He said, listen, just why don't you go buy it? And he said, I'll help you do some, you can do some stuff around it, some extra stuff, and work out some of the down, just go do it. And I said, well, I don't know. And he said, do it. And he walked off. So I went down the next day on Sunday, and I went in the sales office, and I wrote out a check, a $250 deposit. I think it was $250 to deposit to hold the house. And when I signed the papers, I went through the whole deal. It was a real deal. Because if I didn't do it, my money gone, right? So $250, a lot of money, especially back then, a lot of money. And again, $250, the house was going to be completed in 6 months. I had no idea where I was going to get the money for the down payment. And I tell you what, the truth of the matter, I had no idea how I was going to cover the $250 check. That's true. But I knew somehow that baby was going to get covered before I got into the bank the next day. I knew that. Somewhere it was going to happen. Somebody was going to buy something I had. You know, my old tennis shoes, something. Somebody's going to give me that $250. So anyway, when I signed the papers on the house, I had no idea about how I was going to pay for the payments. Had no idea how I was going to qualify. But I forgot all about that once I made the commitment. And I went out there when they started leveling off the lot for the foundation. I went out there taking pictures, talking to the guys. I went out there when they were doing the foundation. When I put the cement work up, I had all my friends over board, and we put some real special cement work in. It was just really something. I was really excited about it. And when they started putting up the walls and everything, I'd bring over all my friends, and I explained to them how the family room was going to be and how out the master bedroom, the sliding glass doors looks out over the backyard, and how it was going to be stepped down. I went through that whole deal. They put the fireplace up, and I went out there and showed them how the fireplace was going to work. And everything. Had no idea how I was going to get the money. But you know the story. Almost to the day and the hour that it came for the final payment, for the down payment to get in there, you know what happened? I had the money. Now, I didn't sit down and write it down on a piece of paper how I was going to do it at all. I didn't do that. I didn't read it 3 times a day, 2 times a day like they teach you, and I'm not saying that that's bad. I'm saying it was just a total part of my awareness. Now, that story might sound unusual to you, but how many in the room had something like that happen to you? Let me see your hands, right? That's a goal. That's a goal. You know how to set goals. You know how to make plans. You know how to do it today. The difference between $10,000 a year income and $10,000 a month income is the got to. That's all. It only has to do with your desire, something that you've got to have. There's never been a goal in your life that you've had that you've not achieved unless you've given up on it. And the difference between, a person always makes enough money to pay their bills. They always do. You ever been in a situation where if I don't get another $200, the whole world's going to collapse? And sure enough, you got it, right? Because you had to have it. The difference between $200 and $200,000 is no issue. The amount is not the issue. The amount is the desire, the amount of desire that you have. I'm telling you, the reason that most people don't make $10,000 a month is they don't have to make $10,000 a month. They don't have to do it. Now, if you've got to have a $10,000 a month income, as bad as you had to have the house, or as bad as you had to have that new suit, or as bad as you had to have that vacation for your lady, or as bad as anything you ever wanted that you weren't going to give up with, I'm telling you, it's yours. It's a matter of time. It belongs to you. Just a matter of time. So you need to understand these. Now, I'm going to share one other thing with you that will bring this together for you. As far as, it's all right to understand that, but how do we put it into practice every single day? How do we go from 8 o'clock this morning to 5 o'clock this night? How are we going to do it? It's a subject that I call employ yourself. Okay? Why don't you get out a fresh piece of paper for this? Employ yourself. Habits. Remember the habit thing? You got to replace the only way you can get rid of a bad habit is to replace it with a good habit, right? You just got to keep switching it. I'm going to talk to you about employing yourself, how to employ you. Let me talk to yourself. Right? Everyone says, it's okay to talk to yourself, but don't answer, right? Don't you buy that story? Well, you get on with it. You want to really get excited, you have a good conversation. Yeah, but let me tell you this. Yeah, but what about this, right? You know, just slap yourself around. You got to do it sometimes. I mean, you got to get intense, just like there was somebody else there. You got to talk with inflections, the whole deal. You can't say, well, the reason you're not doing well, Larry. I mean, that just doesn't cut it. I had to learn how to employ myself. Sometimes we need crutches to get us through life. Sometimes we need mental crutches to get us through life. Mental crutches. You're up here on the stage and you fall down and break your ankle. You're all by yourself. There's not one other person in this hotel. You fall down right here, break your ankle. You've got to get off the stage, down the aisle, down the corridor, past the coffee shop, out the front door, across the street to your parking lot, to the parking lot to get to your car. Got a broken ankle. Can you get there? Yeah. Would it be painful? Absolutely. And if you're all by yourself, there's not one thing to help you. You can get there, and absolutely you get there. Take a long time, and you could do some irreparable damage to your ankle. Right? You're up here, all by yourself, fall down, break your ankle, but you have to find perhaps this flagpole that you can use as a crutch. And now, can you go down the corridor, cross the parking lot, out to your car? Can you get there? Can you get there easier? Can you get there with less pain? Probably zero damage to your ankle, right? So if you have the ability to have a crutch, then you need to use it. Sometimes we need mental crutches to make us successful. Mental crutches. And that's what I had to develop, was a mental crutch. I had to play mental tricks on myself. And to do that, I had to split my personality into two people. I had to have two personalities. Larry 1 and Larry 2. Okay? Larry 1 was the boss. Larry 2 was the bossy, I guess. Okay? Now, I had to split my personality, and I had to talk to myself, and I had to rationalize this whole thing. You want to picture it like this. What if you found out that somebody had a position, or what, better yet, you just met someone, you got to like them, they got to like you, and you had no idea what kind of business it is, but you just liked each other a lot. And then after a day or so there, he says, hey, listen, I really like you. And I think you're the type of person I'm looking for my new company. And I got a position for the right person that pays $100,000 a year. And as quickly, he's got your attention, right? And you think, yeah, no, it couldn't be me, right? And he says, and I think you're the person for the job, right? Now, if that happened, someone would have your attention. What happens when you go out to develop, to find a job, for example? However you come in contact with somebody, if it's by virtue of the newspaper advertisement, personnel agencies, whatever it might be, when it finally gets down to where they're the basic company you'd like to work for, and you're the basic person I'd like to have, then you start talking about income, then you start talking about fringe benefits, then you start talking about days that you work, hours that you work, etc. Isn't that how it works? That's the same thing it is when you go to work here in Herbalife. The only difference is you don't have this person here that's overseeing you. Remember the bad habits? Remember the guy at the gas station here we talked about her earlier? Why he fell down? Because he kept some prior bad habits that were bad on him, right? They didn't show up when he's working for someone else, but they did show up when he worked for himself. Larry 1 here, and Larry 2. Larry 1 says, hey, I've talked to you now for the last 2 days. I got something that I think it fits you. Pay $100,000 a year. Larry 2 says, tell me all about it. Larry 1 explains his opportunity to it. And Larry 2 says, okay, what do I have to do exactly to do it? Larry 1 says, I need you to talk to 10 people a day. Okay? Larry 2 says, no problem. I can talk to 20 for $100,000 a year. Said only 10. Okay? I need you to make X amount of sales a day, right? 5 sales a day, 2 sales a day. Okay? And I need you to learn how to do meetings. And I need you to learn how to do trainings. And I need you to learn this couple, 4, 5, or 6 things here. And Larry 2 says, okay, I can do it. And Larry 1 says, all right, when do you want to start? And Larry 2 says, right now. And Larry 1 says, how about starting on Monday morning? Okay? And Larry 2 says, okay, I'll start Monday morning. And Larry 1 says, okay, we've already decided that we're going to, for this 100,000, that you're going to work 6 days a week. Is that correct? And Larry 2 says yes. And we also decided that you're going to work at least 8 hours a day during that time period. Is that right? So, okay. And you're going to talk to 10 people a day. That's the only thing, that's the most important thing that I want. Larry 2 says, I got it. So Larry 1 says, okay, what 6 days a week do you want to work? And Larry 2 says, oh, I don't care. Right? Well, he's got to care, right? It's to his future. You ever see someone go in and say, what do you want to order at the restaurant? Oh, I don't care. Right? Give me anything. Well, you know what? You get anything. You know, that's what you get. You don't get what you want. You just get whatever someone else brings you. You need to care about what happens to you in your life. So Larry 2 says, all right, I want to have Sundays off. And Larry 1 says, fine. So you're going to work 8 hours a day? Yes. What hours do you want to work, Larry 2? Well, I don't care. Right? Say, well, you choose it. So, okay, I'll start at 9. Say, 9 to 5, you've got it. Okay? So everything's all set. Larry 2's excited, can't wait for Monday morning to come around, starts his new job, his new career, 100,000 a year. All he's got to do is talk to 10 people a day. He's got this in the bag. He can't even believe it. He's not going to believe it until he gets his first check. Not ever. He's all excited. Now, Monday morning rolls around. Larry 2's ready to go to work. He's trying to get out the door, go do his job. He agreed to start to work at 9 o'clock. And just before he gets out the door, some things happen there with the kids and with the dog, and he gets a phone call. And as he's heading out the door, it's not 9 o'clock. It's 9:07. And he looks at his watch and it's 9:07. He said, that's all right, I'll make up for it. And he goes to get in his car and starts it up, and he looks in his rearview mirror, and who do you think is sitting in the back seat? Larry 1. And Larry 1 says, I could be mistaken here, Larry 2, but my watch says 9:07. And Larry 2 instantly says, oh, you're right, it is 9:07. And I said I was going to start at 9, but you know, told him the story. And Larry 1 says, hold it right now. You and I agreed that you were going to start at 9 o'clock. And the first day on the job, it's 9:07. Now, if you want to start at 9:07, Larry 2, that's fine with me. But you're going to start at 9:07 every day. It's not going to be 9:08. Whatever time you say you're going to start, you're going to start. Now, do I make myself clear? Now, if Larry 1 didn't care about Larry 2, what would he do? He'd say, that's okay, you make up for it a little bit later, right? Is that what he'd do? And what does Larry 2 develop the first day on his job? A bad habit. Larry 1 cares about Larry 2, so he's not going to allow this bad habit to creep in. Habits is what equals your income. The habits that you have is equal to your income, good, bad, or indifferent. And for things to change, what's the formula? You got to change. You understand? So you got to change the habits. That's all it is, the habits. Everything's rocking along there well. And then all of a sudden, Larry 1, just as he's starting to leave, he gets a phone call. Things go on 2 weeks here just perfectly well. He gets a phone call from one of his best friends that he hasn't seen in 6 years. And his friend says, I'm just around the corner, I'm coming over to see you. And he says, I'll be here. And he gets there and they get talking, they get all caught up in all the war stories, all the things that's gone on in their lives. They're going on and on and on. And before you know it, it's 7 or 8 o'clock at night, and he hasn't even gone to work at all. Period. And he said, that's okay. I got Bob here. Bob is going to be better than any 10 people I could talk to today. This is going to be something. I know he's just going to do great, and he'll start the whole state up. It's going to be wonderful. And they go on and on and on and on. They have a nice dinner that night. And it's about 10 o'clock at night. Larry 2's brushing his teeth, getting ready for bed. And who you think's standing in the shower? Larry 1, right? Larry 1 says, listen, I've been real busy today and haven't paid any attention, but I don't remember seeing you at all. And Larry 2 said, oh, you didn't, but let me tell you the story. And he ran through the story, right? And Larry 1 says, hold it, Larry 2. When you were doing construction work for a lousy $10,000 a year, you went to work every day. And you were there on time, and you showed up every single day. And I'm paying you $100,000 a year, and one of your friends comes by, and you don't go to work at all? Said, I need more consideration than that. If you're going to not work like you say you're going to work, then we're going to adjust your pay schedule here, Larry 2. It's going to be adjusted. Now, Larry 2 can look at that two ways. Well, that's being real hard. You bet your life it's being real hard. Larry 1 cares about Larry 2, and he's not going to let that habit start. If he lets it start, I'm telling you what's going to happen 3 weeks from Thursday. He'll be doing it every single day. He'll be starting to slack off because of habits. Lack of discipline starts to creep in. Everything walks along there well. Until all of a sudden one day, Larry 2 is supposed to talk to 10 people, and he only talks to 8 people. And he's heading home. He said, oh my goodness, it's just been a terrible day, but I'm telling you, these 8 that I talked to are better than any 20 that I got to talk to. This is going to, oh yeah, these 8 are good. He pulls up in a driveway, and who do you think's leaning next to the garage door? Larry 1. Larry 1 says, oh, I've been real busy and everything, and I haven't talked to you lately, but I only counted 8. And Larry 2 said, oh, it was 8 bucks, da-da-da-da-da. I said, Larry 2, I pay you for 10 a day, not 8 a day. If you want to get paid for 8 a day, fine, we'll adjust it. But I ain't going for any 8. And Larry 2 says, you're right. And he gets in his car and he pulls out the driveway, and the first car that has 2 people in, he says, pull over, right? He is hungry and he wants to go home. See, here's the tendency. The tendency is for Larry 2 to say, sure, so what? It's 9:07. So what? I don't have to be that strict. Or so what if I miss a day and one of my friends come over? All right, let me only talk to 8 a day. Big deal. You know, I'll make up for it. The tendency for Larry 2 is to say, I'm doing okay. Maybe I'm not getting there all, but I'm doing okay. Let me tell you this. You didn't get into Herbalife to do okay. Every single one of you in this room was doing okay before you found Herbalife. That's not why you're here. If you got here to do okay, you're doing entirely too much work. There's a better place to spend your Saturday afternoon than here with us if you want to do okay. Okay, everybody does okay. There's no big deal about doing okay. They don't write you up in the LA Times or People Magazine for doing okay. Okay? It's no big deal. There's no commendations for doing okay. Nothing happens. Your family doesn't look up to you for doing okay. Your wife doesn't go out here to get you special dinners for doing okay. That doesn't happen. You get okay responses for okay effort. You got into Herbalife because you wanted to do excellent. You got into Herbalife because you wanted to do outstanding. That's why you got into Herbalife. You want to do exceptional things, not okay. It's too hard to be here to do okay. You can do other things and be okay. You got to learn to employ yourself. Understand? Habits. Remember that habit situation. Now, I'm going to draw you a picture here. And I'm not much of an artist, so I'm going to have to explain it. And then I'll show you a picture that kind of put it all together for me. I learned to employ yourself. I had to learn that stuff. Nobody showed me this. No one explained procrastination to me. I had to learn it. You can find out your own stuff. These are things just to stimulate your thinking here, to get you hopefully going the direction that you want to go. Now, you know how to build an organization, right? You know who to look for. We talked a little bit about controlling your thinking. We talked about bad habits and lying to yourself, procrastination. That we showed you how to employ yourself. Now I'm going to give you a picture here that will bring the whole thing together. And this picture, what I'm going to draw for you up here, this little box, and you need to put this on your notes, this is a projector. And this projector is much like the projector that we show the slide presentations on, the film presentations on at night. Now, if you're going to have a movie projector here, you're going to need some things to make the movie projector by itself is nothing. You've got to have some elements. One thing that you need a screen, right? If you're going to see it. You also need some films, don't you? Here's a list of films. Now, you have these series of films. Whatever film, in here we have choice. This is real important to understand. We have a projector, we have a screen, we have films. In between the projector and the film, we have choice, which means we choose the film. Right? We choose the film, and what film we put in the projector. Everything's working right, it shows up on the screen. Now you invite me over to your house. Say, I got a bunch of new films, right? Give me the names of some new films that you guys have seen. Elephant Man, American Pop, Jazz Singer, Stir Crazy. Okay, that's enough. Okay? Now you invite me over here and say, oh, I got these new films. You're not going to believe it. And I said, I'm coming. I'll be there. And I show up and we do the chit-chat. We get all down. We get comfortable and talk and everything. And I said, okay, I'm ready. And you say, what film would you like to see? And I said, I've got to see American Pop again. You got to lay it on me. I said, okay. He says, I'll get the film and the projector. I'll get all set up here. And you get the popcorn and the natural popcorn, of course. And, you get it all set up here. And then we'll watch the film. It's going to be something. My new sound system is in. It's wonderful. I said, all right, I can't wait. Got the popcorn. He's got the film loaded. He said, okay, let it rip. We chose to see American Pop. Now, lights go out. Projector goes on. Light comes on the screen, the credits start to roll, and instead of American Pop, it's Elephant Man. And I said, I thought we were going to see American Pop. And he says, me too. And I say, you got the wrong film in the projector, right? If Elephant Man is showing on this screen, what's in the projector? Projectors aren't known for playing real tricks. You know what I mean? They're pretty conservative. They don't do radical things, okay? So, do we agree that if Elephant Man's showing on the screen, that Elephant Man is in the projector? No matter what he says, right? No matter what he thinks, Elephant Man's in the projector, period, over now. We all buy that story, okay? Now, we're going to change this just a little bit. We're going to change these films. We're going to call this film positive. We're going to call this film negative. We're going to call this one success. We're going to call this one failure. We're going to call this one love. We're going to call this one hate. We're going to call this one happy. We're going to call this one sad. The screen becomes the screen of life. The projector gets changed just a little bit, and we're now going to call this the mind. Choice is exactly the same. Now, person says, I have a real positive attitude, but negativity is showing up on the screen. What's in the projector? Negativity. Person says, well, my thinking's straight. Person has consistently failure showing on their screen. What's the answer? They got the failure film in the projector. Person that has success on the film, on the screen, what do they have? Success in the projector. Happiness, sadness. Person's constantly sad, concerned, frustrated, always this, right? They got what film is in the projector? Sad film. They want to be happy, what do? They plug in a happy film. Now, person says, well, I'm doing real good here. I'm real positive. And they have a blowout at 4 o'clock on the Harbor Freeway, right out here, and they have a blowout. Right? Now that's a true test of your attitude. What's going to happen now? What are you going to do now? Your attitude is going to show. What's in your projector is going to show on the screen now, not when everything's going smooth. When there's adversity is when you find out what you really think and really believe in adversity. Anybody can look good when things are going well. Well, what about adversity? What do you do then? That's when your true colors come out. Whatever is on the screen is in the projector. And not only do you see what's in there, everybody around you sees what's on your screen alive. Now, when I realized this, I said, you mean to tell me, remember my thing? 25,000 a year, all I could think. Remember my deal? Construction work, that's all I could think. I could only see past that one little house that I was going to get. That one deal is all I could do. I became aware, and I put more things into my projector now. And I'll tell you, when I first realized this, I went to work on this one in a positive-negative sense. Positive-negative, positive-negative. And I'd be going along there, and every 2 or 3 minutes I'd have to change my film. Every 2 or 3 minutes I'd be going along there and say, oh my goodness, I've had the negative film in for the last 2 minutes. And I just reach down there and plug it in, right? You think that's okay? For about 2 minutes. Then I had to, switch them back and forth. And today, I have to do it. Today, I'll be going along and I say, no wonder things have been going bad. You've had the wrong film in the projector for 2 days. 2 days. And then I put the right film in and I'm all right for 2 or 3 weeks. I still have to do this. Just like you're going to have to do it. Okay? Fine. Whatever's on the screen is because you've got it in here. Remember, the key factor here is choice. What you want to do with it. Okay? Now, I covered a lot of ground fast here because we're going to get it all done. I want to talk to you about problem solving. These are all things that you're going to have to learn how to handle. You're going to have to learn how to do it. Success is a habit. Unfortunately, so is failure. Vince Lombardi said it. He said, winning is a habit. He said, but so is losing a habit. And when Vince Lombardi built the dynasty that he built with the Green Bay Packers, when he built that dynasty, which nobody thought that he could do, when his team was out there on that field playing ball and they would win the game, and they came back and they looked at the films the next day, and if they played sloppy, he got on them more for that when they won playing sloppily than he did when they didn't. Now, why would he do that? Because he understands habits. He understands it. You've got to correct these habits. You've got to work on the habits. One of them is problem solving. We've got to talk about problems here. Now, to talk about problems, I'm going to have to draw you another picture. You'll never know what this is. Who can guess what that is? Amoeba. That's a walnut. This guy's going to make me feel bad. I thought somebody had get it. It's a walnut. Okay? What happens? Why do you crack a walnut? To get inside. Why do you want to get inside? Because the goodies are inside. All the goodies are inside the walnut. Right? So the walnut right here does you no good. But if you crack the nut, you get inside to the goodies. And you get to eat all the goodies. And you're entitled to it because you cracked the nut. Right? Problem solving is a lot like walnuts. It is. You have to learn to solve problems. Here's a formula. Problem solving equals maturity. Problem solving equals maturity. Maturity equals personal growth. Personal growth equals production. And you've got to produce. So you've got a problem solving equals maturity. Maturity equals personal growth equals production, which is your income. Then my point to that is don't shy away from problems. Don't see how many problems you can get away from. See how many problems you can get into to solve. The bigger the problem, the bigger the paycheck. Remember that. If you solve just everyday problems that everybody can solve, then that's called an average problem solver, average income. The only difference between someone making a living and someone making a fortune is they ask for bigger problems to solve. Mark Hughes asked for a big problem to solve. How to get fine quality natural herbal products in the market to control people's weight that would be good for them and get it at an economical price, and to develop up an organization to do it. That was a problem that Mark Hughes had 13 months ago. He solved it. That's all. Yes. Bigger problems. He could have had the same problem, the same intensity with the putting in his lawn in the backyard. The only difference is the paycheck. The bigger the problem, the bigger the paycheck. Okay? Let's talk about babies here for a minute. It's going to be interesting. Okay? Babies have problems. And when babies have a problem, when a baby has a problem, how do they let you know about it? They cry. Right? You know when a baby's got a problem because they cry. Let's talk about some of the problems that a baby could have. One of them could be that they're hungry. Right? If they're hungry, they cry. Then you say, oh, I should feed him. Right? Another problem could be sleepy. Could be tired, right? You want to go to sleep. Another one is they could be wet. Need to be changed. Or there could be another one, right? They could be stuck. You know, it means check the diaper out, right? They could have a needle in it, a spin in them someplace. Those are about the problems that a baby has. Babies don't have problems other than that. Do you agree with that? They don't have very few problems. Okay, adults have problems too. An adult that's immature goes about it the same way a baby does. They cry. They cry about their problem. They don't solve their problem. They cry about their problem. They put the problem on somebody else. Equals immaturity. Got to learn to crack the nut. Okay? So you get the goodies inside. Now, sometimes you go all the trouble of cracking this nut. Now, what do you think that is? Well, I'm just good. Okay? And you get inside, you crack the nut, and you discover that there's no goodies inside at all. There's a worm in there. Right? So you don't get paid for that. Usually, when you have to solve problems with worms in them, involving people, and you've got to remember this, the majority of the problems that you're going to have to solve in your life have very little to do with policies and rules and regulations. The majority of problems you're going to have to solve are going to be personality problems that have to be dealt with. And sometimes you'll get inside of one of these walnuts and there'll be a worm in there. And that's called self-inflicted problems. A lot of people have self-inflicted problems. They want you to help crack the walnut. For one thing, they need attention. They need attention. You've got to find out what's good walnuts and bad walnuts. You can use, if you examine a walnut real closely, you can generally tell, right? If there's going to be a worm in there, you can tell it. But sometimes they'll fool you. Sometimes you'll crack it and you go all the way through it and then you'll find it there. But when you find a walnut with worms in it and there's no goodies, there's no growth either. There's no growth from them. You don't grow from it. There's no rewards from it, but you got to suffer through them. You got to suffer through them because you're a nice person. That's why you got to do it. Okay? There's two types of problems you can't solve. One of them is an emotional involvement, one that you have an emotional involvement with. You can't solve that kind of a problem. If you do, you'll come up with the wrong decision if you're emotionally involved in it. If you're emotionally involved, you've got to turn it over to somebody else. Anything you're emotionally involved in, you'll come up with the wrong decision. And the second one that you can't solve is when your hammer isn't big enough. You need more experience to be able to handle the situation. So you got to call on your sponsor. You got to call on somebody else to solve it. You got to call on someone you care that you have confidence in. A third person, perhaps. But your hammer's not large enough to solve that problem. Okay? Now, in solving problems, here's the thing. Write this down. There's no perfect solution to anything. Humanity does not have perfection, period. There's no perfect solutions. But here's what you strive for. You strive for a 51% accuracy factor. If you're 51% accurate on the decisions that you make and the problems that you solve, you are going to win. If you're striving for 100%, you're never going to make it. You want to strive for 51% accuracy. And anything above that, you're head on. Now, when someone brings me a problem, knowing in advance that most problems are personalities, you've got to here's some steps to it. Okay, 5 steps. You got to gather the facts. Number 1, gather the facts. And under gathering the facts, put enough facts. People say you got to get all the facts. you're never going to get all the facts. How do you know you got them all? How do you know when you don't make the decision that one more fact comes in that you didn't realize that you had? You're never going to get all the facts. You got to get enough facts. And enough facts means that you've got enough to where the picture starts to repeat itself. Right? Till it starts 2 or 3, the picture starts repeating itself from both parties, then you've got enough facts. Now, here's another picture I'm going to draw you. It's going to make me feel bad here. Okay? You know what? Oh. Close. You know what that is? Bologna. It's a pancake. Nothing's perfect, right? It's a pancake. Now, here's the things about pancakes that we need to talk about. What does a pancake always have? Syrup. They don't always have syrup, and they don't always have 2 sides. And both never the same. Than the other. Right? With the right enough facts. Okay? Things like this are what helps me remember these deals, right? There's also a thing called spotlighting. You know what spotlighting is? Spotlighting is when someone, I usually know this. Here's my rule of thumb. Whoever brings me the problem first is usually the person at fault in a personality situation, which most problems are. The first one to bring me the problem is usually wrong. It's called spotlighting. They take the spotlight off of them, throw it onto somebody else to show up somebody's inadequacies. That's what I'm trying to do, to get you onto over here so that you won't see what the real is. It's spotlighting. Okay? So 1 is gather the facts. 2 is form for possible solutions. Every possible, there's no perfect solution. Remember? Find several. Not to the correct solutions.